Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today's video is for those of you out there who care about nothing other than compliments. More specifically, fragrances that are great for fall or autumn, whatever you want to call it, that are really just compliment beasts. You, my friend, do not care about artistic fragrances. You don't care about something being hyper unique. You just want to have the most mass appealing, people pleasing fragrance possible. You need those compliments. And I got you covered. I've got 10 fragrances here that are fantastic for pulling compliments during the fall season. Let's jump into it and check these out. Now, what's funny is I first did this video about a year ago. So I did a 2020 version of this video. I did a winter version afterwards because a lot of people wanted me to do one for winter as well. And then I completely forgot to do it in spring or summer. So we're back where we started in fall, doing it again. And I will link each one of these down below in the description in case you want to check them out at discounters. All right, let's get things kicked off with Versace Eros Eau de Parfum. Now, realistically, you could wear the Eau de Toilette or Eros Flame or the new Eros Parfum. All of them would work really well at pulling positive attention. This one has mint, apple, vanilla, sandalwood, and ambroxan as some of the notes in the scent. And for me, I think it's a little bit nicer than the original, the Eau de Toilette. Things here are just a little bit more well done, works perfectly off my skin. You've got a good amount of sweetness, great performance, so it's gonna last, it's gonna project. People are gonna very easily be able to smell you if you have this one on. And that one has a surprising amount of versatility as well. A lot of people, when they say Eros, they just think, oh yeah, it's for clubs and clubs only. It's for young guys only. But I don't really think that's the case. The original Eros Eau de Toilette, I wore that to the office a bunch, always did very well for me, although I would dial down the sprays just a little bit. You don't want to choke out the old ladies in the office. You don't want to be that guy, you know? The Eau de Parfum being slightly richer, slightly more dense than the Eau de Toilette, and a little bit less with the screechy sweetness off the top makes that one my choice. Great compliment puller. Ooh, sorry to interrupt my own video, but I've got a quick announcement. I just came out with my newest fragrance that I've creatively directed with Michael Malone London, Jet Black Enigma. This stuff is awesome. You're going to love it. It has notes of cardamom, cinnamon bark, black pepper, tonka, labdanum, saffron, oud, and more. I did a video just a couple days ago where I talk more about this, so feel free to check that out if you haven't. You can pick this up at Michael Malone's website. If you use the code GENTSENSE, you'll save 20% off, which will make this, for a 100 ml size bottle, about $88. And only for orders placed in the first week, you get a free discovery set or a free travel size of Jet Black Platinum, which you can add to your cart at checkout. This one's limited edition, and so is that freebie. So make sure to check it out. I've got a link in the description. Back to the video. Next up, let's go with Armani Code Absolute. I love this fragrance. My absolute favorite as of right now in the Armani Code line. Vanilla, tonka, suede, and mandarin, some of the notes in this scent. It's got that Code Profumo DNA, which means it has that Code Ultimate DNA, which means it has that just straight up Code DNA. Yeah, it smells similar to some of the other fragrances that have come out before it, for sure. But I think that this one kind of perfected that formula. It is sweet. It does have that effervescent kind of carbonated opening where it just really sparkles and jumps off your skin. But it maintains that wearability that the Code line is so well known for. You know, that vanilla, that tonka in here. Oh, great. This warm, sexy sweetness that lasts the entire time the scent is on your skin. Got a little bit of suede leather in there, touch of citrus off the top. Code Absolute rocks. Now, if you do want something similar to Code Absolute, but you want even more performance because you're just one of those dudes that's all beast mode all the time, go with Code Profumo. That one comes across a little bit more youthful, maybe a little bit more sweet, definitely louder. But for me, I'll take the slight refined edge that Code Absolute has over Code Profumo, at least this time. Now let's go with a fragrance you can wear anywhere, anytime, basically year round. And there's gonna be a few fragrances in this list that are like that. Fragrances that, yeah, they absolutely crush it in fall, but guess what? They crush it in spring, winter, or summer as well. It's Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. Again, kind of like Versace Eros, if you wanna go with the Eau de Toilette, that would work. If you wanna go with the Parfum, that would work. But for me in this list, putting it right down the middle, with the Eau de Parfum. So this one has bergamot, Sichuan pepper, ambroxan, lavender, and vanilla as some of the notes in the scent. It does have that metallic ambroxany opening that you expect from Sauvage, though it's not as pronounced, it's not as aggressive as in the Eau de Toilette. The vanilla is really what helps elevate Sauvage Eau de Parfum a little bit in cooler weather, in my opinion, because as it dries down, that comes out and becomes much more noticeable. That little bit of sweetness here helps round everything off, smooth everything off, and makes it a more enjoyable fragrance in more situations in the fall. And I probably don't really need to tell you about Dior Sauvage being just a compliment Armageddon bringer. Is that a thing? It's just a massive, massive attention grabber. Sauvage sells like crazy because it pulls attention from other people in a positive way like crazy. Now with this next fragrance, I know a lot of people hate it because the bottle's tacky, it's cheesy, it's childish, whatever you want to say. I get it, I've heard it, and I've probably said it. But if we're just going straight up fragrances that will get you compliments, I have to mention it. It's Bad Boy by Carolina Herrera. And this is obviously the original Bad Boy Eau de Toilette, not the Le Parfum version. This one's got tonka, cacao, amberwood, and pepper. A lot of people out there are gonna say it's derivative, it's boring, it's generic, whatever. But you are watching this video because you don't care if it's a little bit derivative, right? You just want somebody to say, ha, I like what you got on. What is that? That smells good. Actually, maybe not in that way. That would not be the most flattering compliment. That'd actually be kind of weird. Hi, I like what you got on. It smells good. This one is much better than some people would let on. I mean, I bagged on it pretty hard when it came out because it looks really cheesy, but it's a really nice fragrance as far as just a sweet, chocolatey, kind of modern date night fragrance or cool weather fragrance. It is the type of fragrance that will never, ever, ever win over people that are hardcore collectors or aficionados of fragrance. And yet the masses of people will smell it and go, hey, I really like that. So that one, if you want something with a chocolatey twist, check it out. It's very solid for date nights or evenings out on the town. Now let's go back to that whole versatile, you can wear it anytime type of fragrance, any season, daytime or nighttime, but it does fantastically in fall. It is Y Eau de Parfum. Apple, ginger, amberwood, sage, and tonka, some of the notes in this scent, and I really love this fragrance. I think the Y line really took off with Y Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Toilette was solid, you know, for an office time kind of fragrance, clean, easy to wear, that type of scent. But when Y Eau de Parfum came out, they basically took the Y line and they were like, okay, cool. We made this office safe kind of fragrance, you know, good for spring, daytime wear, great. But now we're taking the Y line and we're moving it over here into the compliment master sphere. What even is that? I don't know. It is a sphere where all the compliment masters are held. Like something in Marvel. I could have come up with something better, but I'm just gonna go with it. So they basically turned it into this just compliment monster line of fragrances where that's pretty much all they're focusing on. Versatility, compliment factor. That's all they care about. You know, they came up with Y Live, Y Live, that smells a bit like Invictus, Y Le Parfum, which is a twist on Y Eau de Parfum, and then Y Eau Fraîche just because. Gotta have something fresh. So Y Eau de Parfum, I don't know, I'm ranting, but this thing is just one of the most tried and tested and true positive attention grabbing, mass appealing, people pleasing fragrances that I've worn over the past, I don't know, decade. Next up, let's go with Ferragamo Uomo, just the OG Ferragamo Uomo. Tiramisu, tonka, ambroxan, and cardamom, some of the notes in this scent. And this one gets overlooked a little bit. A lot of people don't really think of Uomo as being this compliment getting, you know, super positive attention pulling fragrance. A lot of people will kind of write that one off a little bit and then think, oh yeah, it's nice, tiramisu coffee, a little gourmandy, that's pleasant. But it's the type of scent that is kind of a ringer. You know, you don't think of it as being this fragrance that's going to command a whole lot of attention. And then it does, because the performance there is good. Everything about the fragrance is done well. The blend is good. Nothing sticks out like a sore thumb. You know, nothing there is divisive. It's very sweet, which a lot of people really gravitate toward, especially if you're just talking about your everyday girl or guy. Sweet fragrances work very well. And so Ferragamo Uomo ends up being this fragrance that a lot of people didn't think too highly of as far as this whole aspect, the compliment kitting aspect, and yet it does very well, especially during the evening, you know, nights out, whether you're going on a date or even to a club, it works great. Okay, next up, a fragrance that gets a little bit of hate from the fragrance community, and yet just to your average person, oh, this is a great smelling scent. This is a big attention grabber. It's Spice Bomb Night Vision Eau de Parfum. It's got apple, pistachio, cardamom, and benzoin, along with a whole bunch of other notes. This is one of those rare modern releases where you look at the note breakdown and it's like 25 notes or something. Now this one does have a little bit of that Invictus-y type flair to it, though it's not as pronounced as in Night Vision Eau de Toilette. And that one really got bagged on. A lot of people crapped all over Night Vision. But then the Eau de Parfum came out and basically took the idea of Night Vision Eau de Toilette and improved it in pretty much every way imaginable. So for me, Night Vision Eau de Toilette might as well not even exist now, because there's no reason to own it. If you want to get that Night Vision flair, then just get this one because it's better. Like I said, all the way around. It is sweet. Once again, you know, you've got that fruity sweetness in the top, that apple especially. As it dries down, you have additional sweetness that comes in the way of sort of a warm, resinous kind of vibe. And then of course, interspersed throughout, you have some nutty notes, which is a little bit interesting in here. You don't see pistachio used very often, if ever, in designer fragrances. And you get pops of spice as well. It's actually super pleasant. Even though it's called Night Vision, I think you can pull it off during the day just as well as the evening, and it is office safe, as long as you don't go, like any of these, frankly, too heavy. And since we're talking about Night Vision Eau de Parfum here, I think this one makes sense to talk about next. Invictus Intense from Paco Rabanne. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Invictus line. I say that pretty much every chance I get. I mean, some of them are okay, but I'm not a fan in general of the whole line. But that's not what this video is about. This video is not about, hey, these are my personal favorite fragrances. This is a video for, hey, these are fragrances that the overwhelming vast majority of people will love if you wear them. So that's why I include Invictus Intense. It's got whiskey, amber, orange blossom, and ambergris as some of the notes in the fragrance. This one basically takes that original Invictus DNA vibe, whatever you want to call it, and then adds a little bit of a booziness, a little bit of an additional darkness to it. It does retain a lot of that bubblegummy feeling from the original, though it is toned down here. So again, a really simple way of breaking it down. It takes Invictus and it turns it into a fragrance better suited for fall weather. Basically Invictus with some twists and turns, made better for fall and even winter. Performance here, really good off my skin, so you don't have to worry about it dissipating after an hour or two. That's a big positive. And I frankly think that the bit of whiskey they put in here actually does help elevate the fragrance overall. So if you put Invictus up against Invictus Intense, just saying, hey, which one do you like more? Doesn't matter what season, just in general, which do you like more? I think Intense is better. And while it's great for younger guys, like pretty much every Invictus Intense, I would say a little bit better for middle-aged guys than the original Invictus is as well. Next up, one that I absolutely love, Luna Rossa Black. Tonka, amber, bergamot, and patchouli, some of the notes in the scent. This stands out so much from all the other fragrances in Prada's lineup. I think that for me, it's a must own. The Tonka and the amber here especially give it this fantastic dark warmth, this sweetness that permeates through the entire fragrance. You get, you know, little bits of notes like angelica and patchouli in there, but they kind of just all float on top of this Tonka and amber. There's also a touch of citrus there in the opening, which basically is just there to help lead people into the mid and the dry down of the fragrance, you know, kind of make the transition a bit smoother. It doesn't really stand out a ton. It's not really something that's the focal point of the scent, is what I'm trying to say. It does have some slight similarities to fragrances like Bulgari Black or Midnight in Paris, which is now discontinued and super expensive, but it stands on its own also. And I think that Luna Rosa Black is one of those fragrances that maybe if you're not familiar with those two I just mentioned, you go into a store, you spray that on a card or on your hand or whatever and smell it for the first time, you may think, man, this is really different. I don't know if this is gonna work. Trust me, it works. People get pulled in to that scent, it feels like. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. So one all black bottle to another. Final fragrance in this list, the Most Wanted from Azzaro. This one has cardamom, toffee, and amberwood. Lots of fragrances coming out nowadays have caramel or toffee or some sort of note or accord that comes across in a similar fashion. Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal, for example, has that. Stronger With You, the whole line has kind of a similar vibe, whether we're talking hazelnut, chestnut, toffee, caramel. Lots of different fragrances have a similar sort of scent profile to this one. They all do their own things that kind of differentiate them, but there is that popular kind of push right now with those notes and accords. The Most Wanted, though, has really started to kind of distance itself from some of the other scents that use that, because it is just a positive attention pulling beast. And you wouldn't think it would be, you'd think it'd be pretty even across the board, but at least for me, the Most Wanted has gotten a lot of positive attention, more so than other fragrances in its style. So if I were to suggest a newer fragrance that does that kind of caramel, toffee, blah, blah, blah that I've been talking about, the Most Wanted would be the one that I suggest to you. It grew on me a lot from when I first wore it. I think it's a solid scent, absolutely perfect for fall. So with that one, the Most Wanted, I'm gonna wrap this list up. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. If you don't mind, leave some more suggestions in the comments for people that might be curious, fragrances that have worked fantastically for you as far as pulling positive attention in fall. Thanks so much for hanging with me. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.